if I put in the valid credentials, then it starts to show me things like, well, that's a switch, and it's 3Com, or that's the workstation, and it's Mac. So I guess my point is, this is still, even if you don't have all the credentials, it's still a good discovery because it's showing you what's using a particular IP address. If you give it the valid credentials, it's just going to be a little bit more granular for you. Okay, so as we page down, you'll notice, of course, the servers, the workstations, the desktops. You'll see here voice over IP phones, printers. Again, all aspects that we can discover without an agent being on the machine. So that's that agentless discovery. I'm going to go ahead and collapse that and go back to this device topology because you'll see a couple things here. So as it pertains to my views, I can look at it from a network perspective, which is what I have up first. And what I'm going to do is just drag this over and look at this 192.168 network, and I can see I have basically the 3 machines kind of hanging off of that network. Now, again, at this point, you could dive in and look at the details for one of those devices. I'm going to spread this out just a little bit and look at this 10.40 network. We'll hit this 202. And what I'm able to see here, again, is just a little bit more granular. And this is the one that has those switches. It has the MAC. Okay, so that's from a network view. If I switch this and look at a connectivity, so now what I'm looking at is a given switch that we discovered. So I'm able to see all the devices hanging off of that switch. So even more to the point here, I'll just mouse over this, and I can see on port 8, I've got a machine. Here on port 7, I've got the 2 machines, and so forth. So again, as you start, maybe you're using your service desk and you're entering a ticket against this switch, you need to do some maintenance. So here's the impact you're going to have on the network when you do that. Okay, and then one last view is my client management topology. And so these are going to be, or this is a representation of the machines out there that have my agent installed. So at the core, you'll kind of remember that topology diagram. I'm sorry, yeah, the architecture. I had that core server, and so here it's this master. I had agents deployed that could connect and speak directly to my core server. So that would be this amped client, this JP laptop. I also had relay devices, and that would be indicative of this machine, that are servicing clients. So this is a relay speaking to the master, and then these are the machines that are speaking to that relay. So that's what you'll get when you start looking at that client management topology. Okay, so either way, you're going to be able to see information if you have an agent deployed or not. If you have it, your client management topology. If you don't, you're the network or the connectivity. Okay, so now what we want to do is kind of dive into just a couple of these devices so you can see what that inventory looks like. And I'm going to choose this JP laptop, and we'll just head into this inventory. And so what you'll see on this is kind of a summary information. So there at the top, I can see operating system, IP, the user, the type, the agent, etc. Here when I hit this hardware, it's giving me, again, granular or summary information as it pertains to hardware. So I can see the domain, the product, the service pack. I can see the BIOS, right? So this is all summary information. But at any point, you're going to be able to get some additional data. So when we do these scans, let's say on the Windows machines, we're basically interrogating the WMI Windows Management Instrumentation. And when I hit this hardware, it's going to show me, so there I said, I think we were looking at the BIOS, so I can see the description, but that's the only thing in this summary view. Here, though, when I hit BIOS, then it's going to bring me some additional information. So maybe we're having an issue with Phoenix BIOS releases in our environment. So really quickly, I can see the machines that are running the Phoenix BIOS, and then I can start to do my reporting where I can see, here I've got the serial number, but I'm able to see as well the version and when that was released. So I need to see all the machines that are running a BIOS that is, let's say, less than 2008, and I'm going to target those to receive a BIOS update. And so that's how you can start to, any of these pieces of information that it's gathering, make some decisions and then do something actionable on that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and collapse this back so that we're just looking at inventory. You'll notice you'll have a software tab. So here I'm able to see applications that have registered with add and remove programs. I've got about 108 entries. If I wanted to slice that and look at the browsers on the machine or all the software, not just what had registered with add and remove, then those are just click points. When I hit this security tab, it's showing me from a securities perspective what applications do we have. And when we say security, we're talking about things like antivirus. So quickly I'm able to see what antivirus software is installed on this machine. I can see the firewall is enabled. The last thing is compliance. And here what and this is something that you would configure, but out of the box, we just want to know, is anti-spyware installed? Has it been updated in the last 7 days? Is antivirus installed? Has it been updated in the last 7 days? So when I'm hitting this compliance tab, that's what we're seeing, and of course you'll have a chart over here on the right. Now this is an actual physical machine. If we compare this, let's say, to one of my virtual machines, and I'm choosing this one just again because some of the information I know has changed. I'm going just back to that inventory, and we'll look at this hardware. So what we'll have is this history tab. So I'm able to see, I'm just kind of trying to show this March 25th date. But what it's showing me is what has changed since we last did the inventory. So I'm able to see there the serial number changed. What is my last boot time has changed. My MAC address for a couple of the network adapters have changed, etc. So you'll get to see changes as well, again, from this view. If there's something that you wanted to be alerted upon, then you could do that as well. All right, so that's the inventory. We'll just collapse this back for us really quickly. And let's just take this back to, I'm going to drop it about right here because we're going to come back and look at one thing. Here I'm going to head back to our presentation. We've looked at inventory, so we saw the computers, we saw switches, routers, printers, voice over IP phones. Now you know the difference between agentless versus using my agent, and then some of the history that we can also see from that view. The hardware financial management is another aspect that you may want to capture on a device. So what this is going to allow you to track purchase information, dates, etc., warranty and support dates, expiration, is it in service, when does it expire, is it disposed? Those are all data points that you may want to capture with respect to the financial management. If you have that stored in a file, maybe the vendor has given it to you, we can import that into client management. So again, you'll have it on the actual device itself. So here, I'm just going to head back. I'm going to look at this JP laptop, and I'm hitting this financial asset management. And then what you'll notice here, so here I'm looking again at summary information. So I can see the cost, I can see the current value, the support or the provider of the machine, information for them. And if I double click in this table, here's where you can set some of your statuses. And again, it's come out of the box with a few statuses, but again, whatever relevant in your environment you could put here. You'll be able to see your device information, your purchase information, your warranty and support information, and then your dates of purchase, when was the service start date, the support and warranty expiration dates, all aspects that I'm going to be able to track. And then here at the bottom, my costs, purchase costs, maybe it's a lease. The nice thing is any of these fields now I'm able to report against later. So how much did that device cost me? If it's on a lease, when is it due, so I can get all the assets together and get them back to Dell. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel, but that's the financial asset piece. And again, it's going to be for each device. You can look at it per group. So you'll notice as I go forward, we'll have device groups, so you can look at it from a device group perspective as well, but you'll have those data points for each device. All right, let me choose this AMP client. If you want to attach devices, so this kind of starts that topology view again, you're going to be able to do that. And then any attachments, PDFs, pictures, etc., you're going to be able to attach as well. Maybe it's the PO for that device. You can attach it right here, and it's available on that asset. Okay, so that's the financial asset management. When we head back to the slideshow here, we're going to move forward to the deployment manager. And again, this is for software as well as operating systems. We're going to take a look at the software today. And there's really the 5 steps. So first, I create the package. I need to publish it. You'll remember I have that core server. I also have relays that I may need to push it to. I'm going to target some devices. That can be from your Active Directory. It can be from a device group that you created on the fly. That software installs, and then I'm going to look at my distribution status. So if we take a look at what that looks like, what I'm going to do is kind of head back here to that main screen. Let me collapse the topology, switch it back over here to the wizard mode, and any of the deployments that I needed to do, I'm doing in the vein of this package creation. So when I click this wizard, you'll notice 2 things here, a custom package or an MSI package. If your vendor has provided you the MSI, then I would use the MSI because those switches, et cetera, that I can use are universal. So the install, the quiet, suppress the reboot, is there an answer file, all pretty standard. If you don't have the MSI, you can still package it up for distribution. You would just opt for that custom package. The difference is you're going to have to know the switches that you need to attach for your custom application. So here when I choose MSI, I'm going to go ahead to next. And again, I'm not going to walk through all of it just to give you an idea. So here we're on step 2, and really I have step 3 and 8 if I don't check anything else. But again, pointing out for each of the functions that I need to do, there's going to be a wizard to step you through that. So there's not a huge learning curve. It's fairly intuitive, simple to use. I'm just literally walking through this wizard. Okay, so we'll hit the cancel on this point. We can go to the Instant Expert because at this point now I've built it up. I need to deploy that software. So you remember the steps there. I've published it. Now I need to deploy it to some devices. So here we're going to opt for Deploy Software, and it's taken me right over here into my console under Packages. So if we look at this Adobe Reader, I can see quickly there it's an MSI. I can see the size of it. And right underneath is where we start to have these assigned objects where I can send it to a device group or specific devices. When I do the devices, I can see quickly that it's advertised. So I have this concept of advertising, which means I'm serving it up. It's up to the agent or the user on the machine to pull that down. So what you'll see, and we'll see this a little bit later as well, is this My Apps. And it was actually that last tile on my client management in the deck that allows me as an end user to see everything that's available to me from IT. And then as I need it, I can pull those applications down. I'm just going to sort this on the status so I can see there as well. I've got some that have executed and it's advertised, and I've got someone out there where it failed. So that's what you'll be able to see really quickly for anything that you've decided to deploy. The next thing was kind of looking at that from a My Apps perspective, and what that looks like is all your agents or all your end users will have the ability to go into My Apps, and it ends up really being that portal for them to start to pull applications. So here I'm going to back up and hit All. And that's going to show me all the available software, all the available actions that I could do, what's installed, and some of those quick links. But here I can see they served me up Acrobat Pro, and I've already installed it. If I wanted to, I'm going to hit this available software. Look at some of the other things that they have provided to me. Maybe I need Visio for one of those projects that's coming up for me. Well, then I could opt for Visio, and then that would pull that down and do the installation. But that My Apps is a really neat solution that's available, and again, kind of baked into the agent, but it ends up being their portal. They're not utilizing a service desk that has a portal from that perspective.